Run away, go find her. Run away, let your heart be your guide. You deserve the deepest of cover. You belong in that home by and by. You belong among the wildflowers. You belong somewhere close to me. Far away, your troubles and worries. You belong somewhere you feel free. You belong somewhere you feel free. One more. You belong somewhere you feel free. Okay, one more. Yeah, perfect.
Oh, perfect.
So Lisa would be out there dancing, of course, and singing along. When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Stand by me. Stand by me. I have the rhythm this rhythm's better. If the sky we look upon should tumble and fall, and the mountains should crumble into the sea, I won't cry. I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Stand by me. Stand by me. Stand by me. When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see, no, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Stand by me. Stand by me. Stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Stand by me. Won't you stand by me? Won't you stand by me? Won't you stand by me? Thank you very much. Thanks, Lisa, too. We love you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let's try it again. Good afternoon, everyone. Hey, thank you very much for joining us for Celebration of Life. I want to think of this as a way of honoring, respecting, and appreciating everything that Lisa Moore has given to our own lives, much more than thinking of this as a memorial service. She is someone that we have loved dearly, someone who has given all of her compassion, her appreciation, her hard work, and her love to our community. In all respect to her, it is our honor to have this celebration of life to celebrate Lisa Moore. To start off, I'd like to give some thanks to people who have been instrumental in preparing this program. First, I want to recognize Shane Torbert and Randy Latimer for their instrumental in welcoming us today. And then, so many of you have been involved in the program. Nancy Stetzman, Marianne Bosley, Pat Groves, Andrew Hamilton, Linda Guglielmo, Alexis Scott, Carrie Hamblin, Andrea Smith, and Sean Burke. Thank you to all of you for what you've done to make this a special event. So today we're going to have a lot of great memories of how we've become better people as a result of Lisa Moore in our lives. And I can tell you personally, over the 9 years that I've gotten to know her, one thing that I always have appreciated about Lisa is that no matter how difficult circumstances were, she always looked at things with a positive lens. I've never seen someone show so much empathy towards people walking in the door of student services and immediately being able to connect with people, not just students, but faculty, getting to know them on a deeply personal basis. It was amazing, just amazing. Made me appreciate how much there is to appreciate in so many of you. I do want to thank so many of you who are friends, former staff, current staff, parents, alumni. So many of you have come back here because you've loved Lisa so much. That's great. So to start our program, or I should say to continue our program, I want to welcome up Allison Bailey and Adam Foreman, who will play a musical prelude. Thank you, Andrea. Next, we will have a few readings by some of Lisa's loved ones. We're going to start with a video tribute from Lisa's sister, Ryan Rayston, which is loading on the screen right now.
My name is Devin, and I'm here to talk about my sister Lisa, my baby sister. Lisa, you rest in God's arms now. But please let me tell you about my beautiful sister. She possessed a pure heart. She wrote thank you notes, would go out of her way to help someone. She loved her son Billy, her cat Francis, her work, her friends, the students she worked with, and boy did they love her. She loved old movies, ephemera, and she saved everything, and I mean everything, that meant something to her. She was not really born for this time. She didn't multitask. She was deliberate, stubborn, did things her way. She maintained a code of honor, and Lisa dreamed in black and white. She lived for old movies and called me to share her favorite scenes in It's a Wonderful Life and Miracle on 34th Street. Every time they were on, anytime they were on. She was of a different time, a different era, a graceful, compassionate soul who would help an elderly woman cross the street and stop to pick up random pennies for good luck. Growing up, we had a summer house on Long Beach Island and had so many adventures, smoking our first cigarettes, joints, taking the boat out when the parents left. Trouble, adventures, a lifetime connection. Lisa was my person. She was likely many people's person because she was so loving, and I'm sure many of you here felt that way about her. When she visited me, it was always in winter, and she could be found on my lawn in her bikini, reading a book because it was 68 degrees. Her laughter was contagious. She radiated beauty. Lisa was love. She didn't have a cell phone or a home computer, and she was that person writing checks in the grocery store checkout line. She wanted real relationships in real time, not the confabulated, ready-made world of instant gratification. She loved her son, her family, and her friends far more than she loved herself, and her gentle soul hid her demons so well. She was not meant to suffer in a world of color. She was not meant to live in a world confused. My darling, dear, blonde-haired ray of light, you are now returned to the world you so desire. Return to a time of peace, of hope, of comfort. You were my daylight star, and now you shine from heaven above. I cannot speak of how my heart is broken, how utterly alone I feel without you, how I will miss talking to you every day, and how a zillion memories of my lifetime with you are running through my head as my heart beats your name. I am so much less without you. Tonight, I'll look up at the heavens and I know you'll be there, shining brightly out of pain. Lisa, my dear sister, my angel, you are home. My name is Devin, and I'm here to talk about my sister Lisa, my baby sister.
Next, I'd like to invite up Linda Collins, Lisa's childhood friend.
I'm Lisa's childhood friend. My nickname was Boogie. See, I don't know if you ever heard her talk about me, but I called her Boogies and she called me Boogies. And little story about this song. Lisa and I were in chorus together in 7th grade. And we had a music teacher named Mrs. Messick, and Lisa was always the instigator. We would sing off key, and Mrs. Messick would say, "Who's singing off key?" And we would just giggle. And And then we'd start all over again with this song in the chorus. Who's singing off key? We would sing low or high. I was alto, she was soprano, and we would just keep doing it over and over again. So anyway, it brings back fond memories of us in chorus in 7th grade. I'm just going to read this. I'm not a singer. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping. And the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. In restless dreams, I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone, 'neath the halo of a street lamp, I hollered to the cold and damp. When my eyes were stabbed by a flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking, people hearing without listening, people writing songs that voices never share. And no one dared disturb the sound of silence. Fool, said I, you do not know, silence like a cancer grows. Hear my words that I might teach you, take my arms that I might reach you. But my words like silent raindrops fell and echoed in the wells of silence. And the people bowed and prayed to the neon god they made. And the sign flashed out its warning in the words that it was for me. And the sign said, the words of the prophet are written on the subway wall and tenement halls and whisper in the sound of silence.
And next is a song that will be performed by Randy and Shane, Imagine by John Lennon.
Long enough? Huh? Is it long enough? I don't think so.
Do you want the head mic?
Yeah. You wanna? Actually, we don't need this. I'll just sing. Okay, so we're not really in the auditorium. We're down in the old systems lab. Not real fancy, but a lot of really amazing things happen there. Of course, as in here at Jefferson. And Lisa's there, and
there's a piano.
yeah, the piano's there, and she likes it when we make mistakes. She likes it when we sing a little bit out of tune. So that's just the stuff, and she's here listening to me.
Thank you, Randy, Shane, and Andrea. Next, I'd like to invite up Shirley Bloomquist, our former Director of Student Services, for a poem.
Lisa would be so deeply touched by this beautiful tribute. I have some reflections and a reading to share with you. In student services, we write a lot of recommendations. If I were to write a recommendation for Lisa, the words caring, dedicated, loving, and selfless come to mind. When Lisa applied for the guidance administrative assistant, yes, guidance was the term in the late 90s, I was thrilled. Lisa was already known as TJ's outstanding attendance secretary, who was adored by students and staff. As our administrative assistant for 4 of the 6 years I was at TJ, Lisa was like another counselor in our department, as she brightly and warmly welcomes students, parents, and staff with her most congenial manner. She cared deeply for us, and we loved her back. Lisa was a cherished friend to all of us at TJ, but she took the lead with our support staff. She regularly knew who was hurting, who needed more tender care, and she provided it. If Lisa were a color, I think she would be a warm yellow. During our time together, she was sunny, healthy, and energetic. Lisa was also fun, as demonstrated by having the world's largest collection of duckies on her desk. Lisa was not only my trusted and capable colleague, but also a valued friend. We daily discussed department needs, with Lisa always extending herself for whatever needed doing. Our friendship continued after I left TJ with our biannual lunches, where we continued to share our personal lives. At the center of her life and heart was always Billy. Whether their mother-son relationship was on the upside or not. We will always remember classic Lisa with the welcoming smile on her pretty face, but mostly we will recall her generous soul. Now I'd like to share a reading that was written by a close friend and pastor named Phil Washburn. The title is Goodbye. Goodbye is perhaps the most difficult word in our language. No matter how stoical we'd like to be, how in control, how accepting of the fact that death is part of life, it's still never easy to say goodbye, not in the end. The French have a saying, to part is to die a little. That is what makes goodbye so painful. And yet, goodbye is a good word. It is a contraction of God be with ye. To say goodbye in its original meaning is really to give a blessing. It is to recognize that at every parting, we must relax our grip, we must yield up a portion of our lives and loves, yield them up to God's keeping in the confidence that in God's keeping, they will be kept safe. To say goodbye is to wish another well. So goodbye is not a bad thing to say. Difficult for sure, but not bad. Not when it is God be with you. Not when it is a blessing bestowed for the journey. Lisa leaves a loving mark on me, as I know she does on you also. So with these thoughts and more, I honor our Lisa.
Thank you, Shirley. It's so wonderful of you to honor Lisa in that way. Such great memories. Okay, so now, so many of you have come here because you love Lisa. You have great memories, wonderful things to share, how much she's left a lasting impression, has taught you a few things in life. Now is an opportunity for you to offer some remarks for 1 to 2 minutes. Come on up.
Is there anybody that would like to share?
My name is Rich Slavotsky, and I'm a former 8th period coordinator here at TJ. I became acquainted with Lisa when she first arrived about 20 years ago due to my involvement with student services in planning teacher advisory, aka TA sessions. Whenever I needed information or a question answered, I knew I could always rely on Lisa. She was always there for me and helped me immensely to make my job. I would enter the student services office. I knew I would be greeted with a smile. She would stop what she was doing to spend a little time with me. Often I would just stop by the office just to chat. Regardless of the purpose of my visit, she would always make time for me, as she did for so many. Once we advanced beyond our professional relationship and became close friends, we would get together periodically for dinner to celebrate our birthdays or to get caught up on our lives. When I needed a staff advisor for the bowling club, Lisa was the only one who volunteered. I am grateful to Nina Pitkin, former Director of Student Services, for allowing Lisa to leave the Student Services office so that she could connect with students in this activity. One of the active bowling club members emailed me after I informed him of Lisa's passing. This is what he wrote. Thanks for sharing, Mr. Slavotsky. What you may not know is that I struggled emotionally through high school and spent a lot of time in the guidance counseling office. I'm sure it was difficult to deal with me at times, but Miss Moore always seemed happy to see me. She was always someone I could lean on when things got tough. This is terrible news. I do not enjoy talking on the phone for long periods of time. However, I made an exception when Lisa was on the phone. We talked frequently this year because she was available to talk to the fact that she was on disability from work. Often when I was traveling in my car, I would activate my hands-free car phone to call Lisa. It was a great way to stay connected with her during her challenging recuperation period. The last time Lisa called me was on Mother's Day. She left a voicemail stating that her son Billy had called her to tell her that he loved her. That was the happiest that I remember Lisa sounding in quite some time. But on a lighter note, when Lisa joined Gold's Gym, it was a very short stint, but she still joined. She talked me into taking a yoga class with her. Neither one of us had much experience at yoga. Well, this fact triggered outbursts of laughter from Lisa and me as we tried without much success to contort our bodies according to the instructor's request. Now, each time that I work out at Gold's in Annandale, I look at the yoga studio and I smile and I remember Lisa. I lost a very good friend, as you did too, but I'm grateful for the time that we shared and the wonderful memories that we created. I miss you, Lisa.
Anyone else?
just real quick, I don't have a lot to say. I'm Lisa's son, Billy. Just wanted to thank everybody for coming here today and sharing. And thank you for everyone who worked hard to put this all together.
As first a TJ parent and then a TJ teacher for 9 blessed years, like so many of the rest of you, I really came to depend upon Lisa. As much as I wanted to instill intellectual rigor into our chum, hum, and English students, I came to see that what they needed as much as anything here, a wonderful but very competitive and stressful place, was some nurturing. They needed a safe harbor through some of the storms that inevitably accompany teenage years, you know, especially here at TJ, as much as we loved it. And I will be forever beholden to Lisa for being a person who would give me a heads up that such and such among my students was having a rough time, hadn't raised it with teachers, but she thought maybe that the teachers would want to know, that maybe we could help them more if we knew what was happening in the background. So for all of the colleagues, staff, and students for whom Lisa was such a safe harbor, I just want to say that we're all forever grateful to her.
I'm Judy Howard. I'm the former director of admissions for TJ, but I first met Lisa in 2002 when I got called in on an emergency basis to run the Summer Quest program. Billy, you were working in the front office. You were in high school. It's been a long time. You know, I was a TJ parent, but I didn't really know the building that helped me out. One was Dee Kruger, and the other was Lisa, because they were about the only people that were in the building during the summer. And I remember thinking many times over the years, because after that I went in and worked in the admissions office, and I got to work with Dee, and I worked a lot with Lisa as well as my sort of one of the liaisons in getting kids from being admitted to actually being students at Jefferson. And I really thought that how lucky are these kids at some of the most sometimes stressful times of their lives, sometimes most joyous times of their lives, to have as the gatekeepers at these important points in their TJ experience be women who were so incredibly kind and generous and loving to every kid who walked through the door. And they weren't just loving to the kids; they were loving to the parents too. And you know, as someone who knew Lisa in many different capacities, I am eternally grateful for her love and kindness and friendship. The last time I saw her was at the end of the year party for the faculty this past spring, and she came in at the last minute, and she came over to me and just gave me this big hug and said, "How are the girls?" And that's what she always said to me, because she always remembered my kids, and she remembered everybody's kids at the school. And you know, I will always remember her. And you know, I was one of the people who contributed entirely too many rubber duckies to her collection over the years, because every time I saw a different one, I said, "Gotta buy it for Lisa." And I will continue to buy rubber duckies because they remind me of her and her kindness. And I'm glad I had her in my life.
Hi, I'm Becca Farrick, former librarian at TJ. I feel very lucky to have known Lisa. I felt very loved by her, and I knew I was loved by her because she was generous enough to call me in the library every time there were warm brownies delivered to the front office. I will blow out a candle for her every April off of my birthday cake because she and Randy and I shared April birthdays and always shared some good birthday wishes every April. So Lisa, we love you.
Sean Burke, school counselor, and Billy and your family, just wanted to share some thoughts about Lisa. Being a school counselor at TJ and having 260 students sometimes for me is an overwhelming experience trying to get to know everyone. And one thing about Lisa was just absolutely incredible is if Lisa met you once, she remembered who you were, she remembered your name, she remembered what was going on with you. And it made my job as a counselor so easy because Lisa would manage all the things for me. She knew when to come into my office to get me for emergency. She knew when she could handle the situation herself. She knew when to take a student to another counselor that fit the situation. She had this incredible instinct for what someone in need needed in that moment. And you can't teach that. And it's people like Lisa that pull these things together. And without her, we couldn't have done our job. And what always amazed me, at the end of the year, seniors are saying goodbye to people, and you look behind Lisa's desk, and there were senior portraits. And I'm like, how does she know so many kids? And some of the portraits were kids that were never upset, but they came in to get a transcript, and they struck up a conversation. And that conversation led to a friendship, which she established with people of all ages, of all backgrounds, and that was one of her special gifts. And I think we all can admit, working at TJ, we work with some very interesting students. And she could quickly develop a relationship with a student who was interesting, and develop a relationship so much that many of my interesting students would call her Lisa. Hello, Lisa. How are you? And I'm like, Cameron, you can't, it's Mrs. Moore. He's like, no, it's Lisa. And she had the knack of putting people at ease immediately. And I know some of my really kids in need, if I wasn't there, she would be able to be with them, and I would get an email, Cameron stopped in today, he's gonna be okay, I sent him on to Marty. So at the end of the day, like, she was a functioning counselor, she was an assistant principal, she was a parent, she was a friend, she served all these roles within seconds of each other with dealing with one or two situations. She was just incredible. So Billy and family, I know you know this, but our community would not be what it is today without Lisa.
Hi, I was a student in the early 2000s, and I knew Miss Moore as a devoted member of the bowling club. And I just want to share a little anecdote from that time. For the first couple of years, we had access to a bus that would take us every Friday to the bowling alley, and we'd have a good time. And then for, I guess, budget reasons, we couldn't have a bus driver anymore, and we were scrambling to try to figure out, is this the end of bowling club, or are we going to be able to do this? And I remember Miss Moore, one of her proposed solutions was she was going to get her commercial driver's license just so she could drive the bus, get us all there. And it reminded me when one of the other speakers was talking about her generosity, just how she was willing to go through that in like an instant to make it so we could still have our bowling club. So thank you, Miss Moore.
I'm Andrea Smith, and I'm one of the counselors, and we were the veterans. Lisa and I have been in the department for a long time, but most of all, Lisa was fun. She was not only my colleague, she was my neighbor, and she was also the one when she couldn't drive at the end, we drove. She was the one who showed me when I first got here the shortcuts so I didn't have to be stuck on Little River Turnpike all the time. So we had time, many times when she could not drive, especially towards the end, I'd be driving her back and forth. So we had long discussions. She was a poolosaurus, so every Saturday she'd be at the pool. She'd call me and say, I'm at the pool, it's 11 o'clock, and she'd stay there for hours reading she's very much into literature. She had an extensive library. She'd be reading literature, she'd be reading her magazines, then when she got too hot, she'd dunk back into the water and go back and read some more. She and I we liked Outback. So that was one of the few times when it came Christmas time, you know our students are generous. If we got those Outback Steakhouse, we made plans. So we'd go out and we'd celebrate and have our Outback Steakhouse together. So at least she was a very generous person. She was a member of St. Mark's Lutheran Church, and she used to volunteer with people who got food there at the end of the month. So there were all kinds of aspects of Lisa, but most of all, she was my friend, she was my neighbor, and she was fun.
This is my 5th year teaching at TJ, and I remember my first week was the teacher work week, and as a new teacher here, everybody who has been a new teacher here knows there's a very steep learning curve, and any kind of friendship or anybody who recognizes you is a nice thing. And so I was walking down the hall from where the old library was over to the main office, and I heard, "Stephanie Glotfelty?" And I was like, what? Like, who knows me? I'm new. And then it was Lisa Moore, and she recognized me from North Springfield Elementary School. And I was thinking, you haven't seen me since I was 10. Like, I hope I don't still look like I did when I was 10. But it's all these comments of her remembering people from just one time. She spent a lot of time in North Springfield, and she hadn't seen me since I was 10, and she recognized me. And every time I would go in to like wait for having a meeting with Tanya or something in student services, I would sit at the little chair right in front of her desk, and she would be asking me how my brother was and all of this stuff, and I just couldn't get over her memory and just the fact that she was always so open and willing to talk to people and sharing everything. So.
Hi, this is going to be a quick anecdote. I don't think anybody's talked about Lisa's love of animals. About 2 years ago, a very sad time, I had to put a dog down. Lisa was the first person who gave me a hug. And she was so warm and so tender. I'll never forget that. She had such a tender heart.
I'm Lisa's friend from 2nd grade, and I just want to say she had an extensive family. She has a stepfather, Gary, a stepmother, Mary Lou, who I'm sure would have loved to have been here. They have a daughter, Sandy, she was very close to, who has kids. She has a brother, Mark. She was very close to her nieces and nephew, Cody. And I wish they were also here. She also has Billy's other family that lives out by me in Pennsylvania, in Levittown, Jeff Moore and Jane Moore, who miss her terribly. And nephews there also. A really funny story though. I mean, we go way back. We used to walk on the beach in Ocean City, New Jersey, and she was the instigator. We would walk by guy and a girl laying on a blanket, and she would say, "Watch this," and I'd watch, and she'd go over and she'd say, "Oh, I'm so sorry," to the guy. "I couldn't call you last night." And the girl would look at him, and then she'd look at me, and he'd go, "What are you talking about? You know, I said I'd call you last night. We had such a good time last week. I'm so sorry." And the girl would get mad, and she would look at me, and we would both just crack up laughing. So, you know, she had her other moments in life, and we had such a good time. One time Billy came up with her. We went to New Hope in Pennsylvania, and Billy decided to buy some red hair dye, and he went in my bathroom and dyed his hair bright red. I have red hair dye all over the sink and all over the walls, and Billy had permanent red hair for just a little while. He looked pretty good, but she was pretty upset about that too. And the other really important thing is I met my husband through Lisa. We were in high school together, and I had the same lunch period as my husband, Dave, and she liked Dave, and I didn't. And she'd say, go to the candy machine and meet Dave at lunchtime. So I'd go down and I'd say, "Okay, what are you doing this weekend?" "Why do you want to know?" "Well, Lisa wants to know what you're doing." So he would tell me, and then I'd go back and report to her. And I really did like him, and he liked me, and we'll be married 40 years come January. And we're all still good friends. And in the meantime, she met this other guy here who doesn't want to say anything, Bob Simkowitz, who was also her high school boyfriend. So she goes back a long way. She's got very true, loving friends, and I will miss her terribly.
Hi, I'm Lori. Lisa and I were friends from back in the day when her son and my son's paths crossed, and the moms just kind of got to know each other, and we became great friends. I have a lot of great memories of Lisa, but one that I'll share with you. Her sister, Ryan, was friends with the manager of the Temptations, and so they came every year to Wolf Trap. And Lisa would always make sure that Devin had gotten plenty of tickets over how many people we wanted to bring. And not only did we have great like front row seats, but we also got to have VIP and parking. It was just, we had a great time. And one time we went, we might have been in the second row at that point, and Respect came on, and that was one of Lisa's very favorite songs. And anyway, she's just, you know, having a wonderful time, and it was seats similar to what we have here. That's what reminded me of it. And so she kind of was jumping up and down, and the seat closed, and she literally did a flip, and there were two guys like in the next row behind us, and this one empty seat. And Lisa's like, she doesn't miss a beat. She does the flip. She goes, "Hey, what's up?" I had some amazing times with that lady, and nobody can ever top what she had given me. So just real blessed that she was in my life and my children's life as well. All right. Thank you.
I want to thank you for offering these stories. I know there's so many more fond memories of Lisa, but certainly you've done a wonderful job in capturing how important and how loving of a person she's been in our lives and how big of a difference she's made. I have a couple of recollections that go beyond the sentimental aspect, which is her affinity for unique types of foods. So I used to order food whenever we'd have like an in-service from Firehouse, you know, the sub shop over at the plaza. And every time they'd give you subs, they'd give you trays of these pickles. And you know, no one ever eats the pickles. Lisa did. In fact, whenever there was an extra tray of pickles, you know, I'd track her down and say, "Look, there's a whole tray of pickles that we provided just for you." And she would get so excited. It was just seeing that energy, you know, the joy in her face of how excited she was. Just a pickle. So we have pickles actually here in her memory. So you have to make sure you have a pickle on your way out. She also had this affinity for peppermint patties. So she'd come into the finance office, and Sharon Sneed would stock her jar with peppermint patties because she knew that Lisa would always come by, and she would have this excitement of seeing them. There's something about that joy. I think that's why she connected so well with students, no matter what their personality was, is because she always emphasized this sense of joy. You know, I don't even know if she liked ducks. But she had this collection, and it made you, you almost felt like, wow, I see this duck. I don't know if Lisa has this duck. I think I'm going to pick it up. But you know what was great is that you'd bring back this duck to her, because I brought several ducks myself, is that it wasn't about the duck. It was actually about the story. She would just engage you and say, well, tell me about this trip that you took. She seemed so excited to receive this duck. But it was much more about asking you about your experience and trying to connect with you. She was so amazing at that. So then there was this day where we decided that we were going to leave student services from downstairs and go up into this new wing, right? This renovated area, new space. So she decided to clean house. And she decided that this is the day that I'm just going to let them all go and fly away. Fly away. So all of a sudden, one day, she says, I'm setting them free. She makes this announcement. If you want a duck, come and get it. And I swear, these things went so fast, probably faster than any night to sell out for I-Night. I mean, these things just took off like you would not believe. Everyone wanted a duck. They wanted to have a memory from Lisa. It was amazing. It was such a huge sign of appreciation of her and what she brought and how much she was willing to let go and share it with everyone. She ran out of ducks pretty quickly. So, out on the table, if you never received a duck, we have more ducks. So if you never received, I know many of you have been blessed to have a duck from Lisa because you were kind enough in her life to develop a great bond. If you missed out on that one special moment where she released all her ducks, take a duck with you. So to conclude our program, we belong to one of Lisa's favorite songs. I think the words are going to flash on the screen. She loves when we sing off key. So please join along. And then following the song, we have all these wonderful treats, thanks to the PTSA, thanks to Betty Stegall, and everyone who contributed. Please enjoy some food, otherwise Luke's just going to have to eat it all. Okay, let's give them a big round of applause to thank them for playing. Thank you all for coming today. Please take some time and enjoy.
Yeah, 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 Louie, Louie. Oh, we gotta go. Fine little girl waits for me. Catch a ship across the sea. He sailed that ship all alone. We never know if I make it home. Louie, Louie. Away gotta go. Oh yeah, 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 Louie, Lou. Yeah, oh, away gotta go. 3 nights and days I sail the sea. I think of girl constantly on that ship. I sailed it there. I smell the road. Away gotta go. Yeah, 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 yeah. Louie, Louie. Oh, oh, away gotta go. Ready? Jeremiah was a bullfrog. Was a good friend of mine. And the word you said, he always drink that wine, singing joy to the world. All the boys and girls, joy to the fishes and the deep blue sea, joy to you and me. Jeremiah was a bullfrog. He was a good friend of mine. I never understood a thing he said. Nothing good but the wine, singing joy to the world. All boys and girls, joy to the fishes and the deep blue sea, joy to you and me. Go up now. Joy to the world. All boys and girls, joy to the world. All boys and girls, joy to the world. All boys and girls, joy to the fishes in the deep blue sea, and joy to you and me. Joy to the world. All boys and girls, and joy to the fishes and the deep blue sea, joy to you and me. There she was, just walking down the street. She was just walking down the street. And there she was, just walking down the street, singing do-ah-diddy-diddy-dum-diddy-do, popping her fingers and upping her feet, singing do-ah-diddy-diddy-dum-diddy-do. He looked good, he looked good. He looked good, looked fine, and I nearly lost my mind before before I knew it, he was walking next to me, singing do-a-diddy-diddy-dum-diddy-do. He took my hand just as natural as can be, singing do-a-diddy-diddy-dum-diddy-do. We walked on to my door. We walked on to my door, and we stayed a little more. My, I knew we was falling in love. My, yes I did, and so I told him all the things I've been thinking of. Now we're together nearly every single day, singing do-a-diddy-diddy-dum-diddy-do. We're so happy, and that's how we're gonna stay, singing do-a-diddy-diddy-dum-diddy-do. Walked on, and not mine. Yeah, I'm her and she's mine, and the whales are gonna chime. Do-a-diddy-diddy-dum-diddy-do. Do-a-diddy-diddy-dum-diddy-do. Yeah, sing it. Do-a-diddy-diddy-dum-diddy. Yeah, sing it. Do-a-diddy-diddy-dum-diddy-do. Woo. Good song choice. Let's do it again so I can get the words right. One more time. Hi, good to see you again. Wow. Way, way back.